Before we start the video today, I just want to show everybody we have the tortoises out walking around this afternoon on the patio. They like to just get out, wander, and just hang out in the patio and just absorb the nice sunlight. And this is La. He's about a year old now. And sulcatas come from Africa. They get up to a couple hundred pounds. I've heard even 300 pounds. They get enormous. They live around 150 years. So some people have seen them in the background in some of my videos and asked me to show them. This is one of them. This is La. Luna is running around somewhere, but really, really cool little animals. They love eating lots of lettuce. So I thought I'd show everybody that. We have a lot to talk about today. Absolutely crazy day. Let's get right into this video right now. Dow Jones climbs above 700 points today as Wall Street clinches its best week since June. This was on CNBC today. Matt called me last night and we were just talking about what we thought would happen today. And in the early hours of the morning, he said that the Dow Jones was down over 300 points. The 10-year was at 4.3%. And what a miracle today. You wake up and everything is going absolutely crazy. Markets surging, all on the news of what? Before the open today, the so-called Fed whisper came out and said that the Fed would pivot before December. And this created really a miracle on Wall Street today as the Dow Jones, NASDAQ, markets across the board just went absolutely ballistic. They also wheeled out some other people from the Fed saying the same thing, that the Fed would need to start easing, would have to take their foot off the gas pedal. And they needed to do this to cool these markets down because these markets have been in very, very big trouble. Now, yesterday, I reported that the Philly Fed president, Patrick Harker, he came out yesterday and said that they're not doing enough, that he was disappointed that they weren't getting the results that they wanted, that the Fed would have to be more aggressive, that we would need more rate hikes, bigger rate hikes. And today, we get a complete 180 by other people they wheeled out from the Fed, and of course, the Fed whisper. So it's amazing how somebody can just come out and say something and have so much influence on the markets. Now, will the Fed really pivot? Comment down below. Are they going to pivot before December? Now, we're supposedly going to get another rate hike of 75 basis points in November, and I believe we will. I still don't believe that there's going to be a pivot. I think that they wanted to just come out and ease everybody's minds today, cool down the markets, but I really don't see a pivot. But let's talk about what we saw today. Dow Jones up 750, NASDAQ up 245. Gold was up $23, silver up 57 cents. The 10-year, they pulled down to 4.22%. Now, it doesn't really matter to me if they pivot. It really doesn't, because all that will happen is the gold and silver that I own and that I continue to buy is going to continue to surge, as we saw gold and silver surge today, because it is anticipating that if this is true, we're going to see more inflation. If the Fed pivots, watch out, gold and silver are going to go ballistic. If they pivot, we're going to see massive amounts of inflation. If you think inflation is bad now, if the Fed pivots, you're going to see a lot more. Now, they continue to send tens of billions of dollars over to Ukraine. Now they want to send $10 billion over to Taiwan. We're going to watch inflation go absolutely crazy. If they do a pivot and continue to send money all over the world, this is going to create a firestorm of inflation. It's going to go nuts. But again, it will be good for gold. It will be good for silver. So to me, it doesn't really matter. I would much rather the Fed not pivot. I would much rather them aggressively raise rates and stop trying to play catch up. It would be nice if they would actually admit that real inflation is probably around 20% and they need to start raising rates at 2 full percentage points. That would be reality. That would be nice, but it's probably not going to happen. Will they pivot? I don't know. Comment down below. Love to know your thoughts. Are they going to pivot before December? I don't think so. Here's another article today. Now, I want you to really pay attention to some of this data and tell me what this is going to look like a year from now, especially if they pivot. Again, I don't care what they do because I own a lot of gold, a lot of silver, a lot of cash. If they pivot, cash is going to continue to be worthless. Gold and silver is going to be the only game in town. The markets will like it. It will get a sugar high. But here's the thing. Yeah, the markets will like it. But when your currency is collapsing, what does it really matter that your stock is going up? Because it's all based on dollars. And if the dollar becomes worthless, what is the reality of stocks? It becomes worthless because it's paper. At this point, you're going to be measuring wealth in ounces, not in paper, not in dollars. CNBC today, U.S. consumer is soldiering on despite soaring inflation and recession risk, credit card giant says. This comes from American Express. U.S. consumers have demonstrated a willingness to continue to pay higher prices in the face of a sluggish economy that could be tipped into a recession. Yeah, they're paying a higher price, many because they are forced to, because they have to. They're paying a higher price for gasoline because they got to put gas in their cars to go to work. They have to put gas in their cars to go shopping. They have to put gas in their cars to take their kids to school. When they go to a restaurant, they have to pay more to eat. When they go to the grocery store, if they want to eat, they're going to have to pay more. American Express on Friday reported stronger than expected third quarter earnings and revenue. The company said overall customer spending jumped 21% year over year, driven by growth in goods and services. Well, you know, that's an interesting number because we think, at least I believe, that inflation is up around 20% from last year to this year. But listening to or reading this article, American Express says that customer spending jumped 21% year over year. Well, yeah, that's because prices of about everything on average are up about 21% year over year. So that makes a lot of sense right there. But people are forced to spend more to get less, and that's what is happening. So it is just an awful, awful time in U.S. history. It's an awful, awful economy where people now are reliant and dependent on the usage of credit cards in order to buy essentials, to pay for that gasoline, to go to the grocery store, to even pay for rent. They're using credit cards and they're spending 21% more year over year. Yes, because prices are up 21% year over year. And in some areas of this economy, it's even more than that. You look at eggs, they're up 33% year over year. Very good article I was reading today on the economiccollapse.com. The middle class is dying. 50% of all American workers made less than $3,133 a month last year. With record inflation, this now puts you, if you're one of these individuals, it puts you now barely above the poverty level. More than 30% of American workers made less than $20,000 last year. More than 41% of American workers made less than $30,000 last year. 52% made less than $40,000. 62% made less than $50,000. According to the Social Security Administration, median wage in 2021 was $37,500. That was last year. Inflation much worse this year than last year. Wages may have gone up a little bit more this year, but inflation has gone up way more. When you look at these numbers, when you read the data, ladies and gentlemen, this is very, very bad news for most Americans. People are drowning in debt. People are trying to hang on to the middle class. You know, one time, if you were making $3,100 a month, you were doing quite well. Today, you are barely over the poverty line. And this is really scary stuff because so many people are just limping along. They're not even making it to payday. Many are having to borrow money before payday just to cover their bills. This is not good, and it's going to get much, much worse. So I hope that people today enjoy the 700 point or 750 point rally on the Dow Jones today. I hope they do, but is this really going to change the situation that we are in right now? Because they can just roll some people out and tell the markets that the Fed's going to pivot, even though we have no idea what the Fed is going to do. This just seems like it hits the algorithms, sends everybody into a utopia. It gets the dumb money to come in and buy in these dips. These markets are going to collapse at some point, ladies and gentlemen. And this right now, with what we saw today, to me, shows pure desperation. Desperation by the Fed to try and cool things down. They are losing control. What they're doing is not working. First off, they're not admitting the real true number of inflation. Now, the answer is to them, okay, we'll pivot, so we'll lower rates and we'll print money again and we'll expand our balance sheet. Well, isn't that what got us into this situation in the first place? So we're going to do a reverse course and do exactly what got us into the mess. So we're going to make the debt bigger. We're going to devalue the US dollar even more. We're going to threaten the world reserve currency, the US dollar, by devaluing it, causing more inflation. Very, very dangerous. Going to be great for gold, going to be great for silver, going to be great for real assets. Not going to be great for the dollar, not going to be great for anything in paper. Yes, things will go up on the stock market, but again, it's all backed by the dollar. And if the dollar is losing its purchasing power, you're going to continue to lose your purchasing power. So I think it's very imperative now to be holding real things, to be getting your debts paid off. I will continue to buy more gold, more silver. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. You have to really critically think now for yourselves what you are doing. There's a lot of people out there that say, well, you should get a financial advisor, or you should get a financial planner, you should get somebody to manage your money for you. Ladies and gentlemen, you better be able to manage your own money. And I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is they allow people to manage their money and make decisions for them, when you need to take responsibility and understand right now what is going on. You need to be critically thinking what is going on. You need to be responsible for your money, your future. Don't put your money in the hands of somebody who can jeopardize it. Remember, most of these managers, advisors, planners, they are all tied into the system. None of them are ever going to tell you to buy gold or silver because they don't make money doing that. So you need to really start being your own money manager, your own money advisor, your own central bank. You need to start thinking for yourself. Now, it's not bad to reach out to some of these people, but at the end of the day, you have got to look out for you. These people aren't going to look out for you like you would look out for yourself and your family. And you have to be responsible for yourself. These people are in this to make money. They're plugged into the system when many people need to be getting out of the system right now. So be very, very careful and cautious who you're taking advice from. Start educating and thinking for yourselves. Be your own central bank. Article from The Hedge today: recession fatigue looms as consumers begin to break. 23% of people in this country have no emergency savings. 28% have less than 3 months of savings to pay for expenses. 22% have 3 to 5 months of savings to cover expenses, and 27% can cover 6 months or more of expenses. This tells you and I that the majority of this country is completely unprepared for a economic collapse, a depression, a major recession. They are not prepared. And we've spoken many times that people are going to come knocking at your door, people you know, family members, neighbors, people in your community. They're going to come knocking at your door for help. This is the time to warn people right now, you're not going to be helping them. This is the time to tell people right now they better get their house in order, because you have got to take care of you and your family. And when you look at these staggering numbers, the data it's warning all of us that when this thing gets unplugged, when they pull the rug out, people are so unprepared because all they do is spend time on their phones, head down, watching TikTok videos, playing video games, watching Netflix, watching football games, while their pensions are being robbed, their Social Security being robbed, their stock portfolios being robbed. And they're going to wake up one day and it is going to be way, way too late for these people. And they're going to reach out to you for help. And to those people out there, you know, I think it's great to help people. I love to go out and feed the homeless and feed the animals. But to the people out there who should know better, who are absolutely delusional because they're too brainwashed with sports and movies and TikTok videos, these people are going to get exactly what they deserve. These are the same people week after week that post on social media what they just bought, their car, their new shoes, what restaurant they're eating at. Of course, all put on a credit card, all going broke, trying to impress you and I. So be ready for this, ladies and gentlemen. We're all going to face this. Somebody's going to come knocking at your door. Getting rich is one thing. The tricky part is keeping it. This was an interesting article on The Hedge. Many people got rich during this bubble. They got rich in the stock market. They got rich with housing and real estate. You know, people bought a house for $300,000, and you know now it's worth $1 million. The trick is now keeping the money. People are wealthy on paper, but they're not going to be able to access much of that wealth when the bubbles pop. When the $400 trillion global credit asset bubbles pop, a lot of wealth will vanish. So again, stop trusting other people with your money. Start really thinking for yourselves. But what is going to happen when, you know, people measure their wealth at, you know, oh, they bought a house for $300,000. Now it's worth $700,000-800,000. They feel wealthy. What happens when the real estate market collapses, and that $300,000 house now goes to $500,000, $400,000, back to $300,000. And on top of that, these people pull $200,000 of equity out of it. So now they're upside down. This is how quickly people's wealth will vanish. And of course, people who have money in the market, when things collapse, sometimes it's very difficult to get your money out of the market. We learned that in 2008. And now, of course, also the taxation, the wealth tax, and other things, pulling money out of your 401k early, being severely taxed. Not so easy to pull your money out of these markets, especially when you need to, because you're going to be taxed severely, or you will just be frozen, locked out. So this is why you have to get money out of the system. You have to have hard assets and cash put somewhere that you can get to in a time of emergency. And as I leave you today, as I close this video down, and I pray that you all have a great weekend. I pray that you all take a little bit of time this weekend to prepare a little bit, go get a little extra food, a little bit more water, go buy some gold, some silver, go get some training, hit the gym, go for a run, enjoy nature, enjoy God's creation, and make sure that you give all thanks to God. Say a prayer this weekend for this country, and say a prayer that God directs you, guides you, and protects you for what is coming. We are in spiritual warfare. It's going to be a very, very ugly depression, ladies and gentlemen. But as I leave you, watching again what we watched take place today, another magic trick, another miracle on Wall Street. This is pure desperation. This is how bad it is getting, where they are wheeling people out with these positive messages that there's going to be a pivot. And look, if you have a lot of gold and silver, you have your debts paid off, let them pivot. You're going to do very, very well. I'm playing both sides of this. I have cash, I have gold, I have silver, and I have zero debt. So it doesn't matter to me what the Fed does, because either way, I'm prepared for it. And I want you to be prepared for it too. And I want you to be thinking in which ways you can be preparing. There's going to be great opportunities coming without a doubt. But again, as I leave you today, this was pure desperation. And anytime you watch these markets explode like this, 750 points on the Dow, absolutely incredible. You have to think of the manipulation and the power behind the scenes, but you also have to think, how bad is it really that they're doing this, that they're wheeling people out and changing the narrative here, that now we need a pivot. If they pivot, ladies and gentlemen, all hell will break loose. You're going to see what is happening in other countries like Turkey, where inflation is 83%. You're going to see hyperinflation come to America. If you think it's expensive now to go to the store or pay for gas or to pay for goods and services, wait till you see what's going to happen if the Fed pivots. I don't think we're going to see a pivot this year, but it doesn't matter. Who cares? Because if they do, gold's going to go absolutely ballistic, silver's going to go ballistic, and we're going to have a lot of purchasing power while we're going to see more layoffs and we're going to see the economy absolutely get destroyed. So protect yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Take a little bit of time this weekend. Have a safe weekend. God bless all of you. Very, very troubling times ahead. Very scary. And when I see what I saw today, it really puts me on high alert that we got bigger trouble than most of us thought. Be safe. Thank God for everything you have. Thank God that you're alive today. You're walking, you're talking, you have a job, you have family, you have friends. Whatever you have more than a lot of people. So make sure you give all that appreciation to God. And I look forward to speaking with all of you very, very soon.